What's up guys? Today we're going to be talking about the Blackbeard Pirates, going over their devil fruits and seeing at the end what would happen if they were to battle the Strawhat crew in a hypothetical battle. Fight! Now the first one we were reintroduced to in the last chapter was Captain Avalon Pizarro, and he is an island man. So it seemed like Beehive Island was Pizarro and that he was talking through the giant skull-shaped rock that they were all living in or housed in, and just rumbling. I don't really understand how this power works, but him being an island man just makes me think of Pika, how he was able to just go into different kinds of stone, manipulate its shape and then turn into a giant golem if he wanted to. I would imagine he could do that, but on a much larger scale and not just with stone. Maybe he can inhabit the trees and the grass and all of the other things that are on the actual island. But with this devil fruit, it makes me wonder how he interacts with the ocean, because an island is in the ocean, and that's the weakness of a devil fruit. So I'm probably thinking that he's probably just sitting on top of the island, kind of spreading his body out, and that all the buildings and such are kind of built on top of him. Or maybe he can even manipulate those buildings, although he wasn't really doing that when Kujaku was whipping buildings around. He didn't really have anything to say about that. But yeah, very confused about his power, but I can assume he's a very large mass, controls some kind of ability of the earth. He can terraform a bit. We're gonna have to wait and get a little bit more details on him, but I don't see him being a super big threat. He's just a big body, and we've dealt with those big bodies before. Up next, we were reintroduced to Shiryu of the Rain, and we all know he has the clear fruit. He got it from Absalom, and now he's an invisible man. He can become invisible. You can't see him. I'm assuming you could still smell him or hear him, but I bet you he's pretty quiet. Maybe light footsteps as a good swordsman. This power isn't as awesome as you would think. If you have observation hockey, I'm assuming you can just feel their presence. You can sense their intent. So you wouldn't be able to, you couldn't see them physically, but you would know where they are. Say Shiryu was to fight Zoro. Zoro would know where he is almost instantly. He would be able to block just by his instinct. And so the invisibility really wouldn't be that much more of a boon for Shiryu. But as an assassin, and say they were just, to catch people off guard, he could easily just sneak into a kingdom or go onto a ship and just assassinate somebody before anybody's aware, and maybe even get out of there before people know that he's there. He could just sit in someone's room and wait for them to go to sleep, skewer them, and then be out of there. So dangerous if he's using it as like an assassin, like a ninja, but on the battlefield, after he kills one person, everybody knows where he is. I'm sure he's gonna be covered in blood, and the blood probably wouldn't be invisible. Don't know exactly how the fruit works. Maybe it's like a different kind of fruit. With these days, all of these different fruits or all these fruits are turning out to be something different. So who knows really? But I don't really see him being much of a threat. Zoro takes him out no problem. And really, what I expect is Zoro's gonna open up that left eye, have his own Hawkeye, and then give himself a huge boost to his observation hockey, so that it really wouldn't be a thing at all. That's just my theory about what Zoro's gonna do, by the way. After that, we have a wild card entry, Vasco Shot. He has the glug fruit, or the liquor fruit, and he's a liquor man. He doesn't really explain much. You see him floating on a bubble that's probably made of some kind of burp. I remember in the old cartoons you would see all of the drunk characters just burping and bubbles would be popping out. So I think they're going off of that. We know a lot of this is influenced by those old cartoons, hence Luffy's powers. But he also referenced trying to set the whole town on fire. So alcohol is flammable, so he's essentially like gasoline walking around. It might as well just be a gasoline man. But I don't see how this is any better than any other kind of Logia devil fruit, besides the fact that it's just a flammable liquid. Maybe he himself can just be on fire constantly because he's liquor and he won't burn himself out. I guess that'll be cool. Then he'll be a liquor fireman at that point. Not sure how it works, but someone splashing a little ocean water will put out the fire and dampen his abilities at the same time. And the Strawhats will probably make very short work of him. And if he has the ability to make people drunk while he's fighting you, I don't think he's going to fare well against Zoro just on his own. The man Zoro can hold his liquor. And yeah, pretty much all the Strawhats can. Go back and look at Whiskey Peak, and see how well they held their liquor when the people were trying to get them all drunk. So I don't really see Vasco Shot being that much of a threat against the Straw Hats. After that, we saw Juan Wolf. Now, when we were introduced with Juan Wolf, he was described as the, what was it? Gigantic battleship? I'll check notes. Giant colossal battleship. Yeah, so the giant colossal battleship Juan Wolf. Now, I just thought he was a giant. I thought he was like an abnormally large giant, like kind of like Oz, or I'm sorry, Ors, the ancient giant. You know, maybe there's just something about him. Especially when he was just kind of hanging on to Marineford, like it was just like a little bush he was hiding behind, or a little toy building that he was standing behind. He is massive, so obviously, like, to civilians, he's a threat. One step can like level a whole block. It looks like he's that large. But we've seen people like Sanji take on beasts or creatures way larger than himself, just about as big. When he fought Waratsame, when he fought that big giant monk in Fishman Island, he was super tiny compared to him, and he annihilated him with no problem. So being very large just makes you a big target. I don't see how he is going to be a threat to the Straw Hats. And I bet you I could see Luffy growing to as big as he is, punching him in the face, and then that's all done for Juan Wolf. So yeah, don't see him being much of a threat to anybody on the crew. He just seems like a nice guy. Look, he's just napping, just taking a nap. He's not a threat. Also, I'm curious about how his powers work. I assumed he didn't have any powers because he looked like he was standing in the ocean, like he was just wading through the ocean, kind of like Zunisha does. So I just thought he was that massive, and that's why he was locked up. But how the hell does he even fit and impel down? None of it made sense. It makes more sense now that he just can inflate himself to be that big, and he's normally just a regular sized person. So what we saw at Marineford was probably his Devil Fruit activated, just becoming gigantic. And that's cool, I guess. But can he touch the water? Probably not. If he gets in the water, what happens? Does he automatically shrink? Probably. If it doesn't work that way, maybe it just weakens him a little bit. If he stands in the water, he could probably create tsunamis that would annihilate anybody who's on the island, especially people with Devil Fruit abilities. So he could be potentially dangerous to like an army of Devil Fruit users. But other than that, I don't see him being a threat at all. Now, other members besides Lafitte, we know. We do know that Lafitte has some kind of ability. He was seen to have wings, like an angel, but it's not confirmed that that was like a Devil Fruit. And it could be a Zoan Fruit, and he could be any number of birds, or he could be like I guess he couldn't be a Pegasus anymore. Maybe he could be an angel. It could be like a mythical zone type angel. That would be cool too. He would be like the OG Seraphim. That would be really cool. Who knows with his power? So until his powers are confirmed, I'm assuming that he is somewhat a threat, because not knowing what people's powers are is dangerous, because you don't know what you could be doing against them that could help them, so on and so forth. But not knowing what his powers truly are, I don't really see him being that much of a threat, but he's definitely, I'm keeping my eye on him, because he definitely probably has some shady shit. Katarina Devon has the mythical 9-tailed Zoan Devil Fruit. This gives her a lot of abilities, and only one of them we've seen. She can change shapes. She can shapeshift, basically. Whether or not she can just change into people, because we saw her turning into Absalom and then transforming back to herself, she could probably turn into objects as well. We don't know, because it's not like the clone fruit, where he could only imitate their faces. She could transform everything about herself. So maybe she can transform into objects, and then that would be pretty dangerous. You could think you're just walking by a, broom, and then pow! Hockey punched in the face. Who knows? And plus, being a mythical zone makes her very dangerous. Means she's probably going to take a lot more of a beating. She's going to recover a lot faster. You're probably going to have to put her down a couple of times. And I'm assuming she's very dangerous, just in general. All of them are dangerous, of course, but the fact that she can shapeshift, she can become anybody on the battlefield, really just throw off the enemy. She's probably going to be one of the most powerful in the Blackbeard crew, unless she's taken out early and you don't get to see any of her powers come to fruition. And who knows if she has other powers. She could have like 9-tailed fox powers from Naruto, and that would be OP. I could even see her in a fight against Sanji, where originally she shapeshift as a man, where Sanji engages with her, and after the fight goes and Sanji's kind of winning a little bit, she transforms into a woman, or like gets turned back into a woman mid-fight, and then Sanji is just like broken because he's been beating a woman's ass this whole time. Van Auger has the teleport fruit. He can teleport himself anywhere on the battlefield. He can also teleport other people on the battlefield. This is not just like Law's fruit. Law has to sub something in space, so he can't just teleport wherever he wants or teleport objects wherever he wants. Something has to be replaced. So there's a limit to Law's teleportation. That doesn't mean that Law's abilities are lesser than Van Auger's. In general, Law has way more abilities than nearly every other Devil Fruit user in existence besides probably Luffy now. And I would definitely take Law's ability over Van Auger's. But for Van Auger, that ability to just move whenever he wants to as a sniper is very dangerous. Imagine a sniper today on a real battlefield that could hit a shot and then just be gone. By the time you would find out where that bullet was coming from, the sniper is not there anymore. He's in another hidden location. He could be right behind you. That is very scary. Or he could teleport you. I saw him teleport Blackbeard. I don't know if it has to be a willing participant or if he has to touch them or anything like that. We don't know all the rules. But if he can teleport other people at will, he could teleport you in front of his bullets. He can teleport bullets mid-flight if he's that good into people's faces. You know, shots that he thought he missed, now they're his. So it's just a very dangerous power. I can definitely see him being a threat on the battlefield as well. Usopp and some really killer observation hockey is going to have to put him down for good. Last and definitely least, honestly, I just never liked this guy. He's just the typical macho, super strong character, and then he gets a devil fruit that just makes him stronger. That is boring. In One Piece, a series I consider very, very creative and unique, this is just weak sauce, man. This is not it. This is not good. I would have loved that he had the fire fruit. Of course, it would have been a conflict because that was Ace's fruit. If he would have gotten it, that would have made him a much more like compelling character, because this super strong and invulnerable fire guy, you know, and super cocky, has to be taken down a notch and maybe even killed because he has one of Straw Hat Luffy's dearest people in his life's devil fruit. That is his brother right there. So it's just very weird. I do like the way the story turned out, having, you know, Sabo get the power. Now he's the Flame Emperor, and that's really cool. But just giving Jesus Burgess the strong fruit is just boring. Yeah, he could pick up a mountain, he could toss it at you, but Zoro can cut a mountain, you know? Sanji will probably kick a mountain back at your ass. So what are you gonna do then? I mean, Sanji could probably take the whole mountain just head on and not even be harmed at this point. He's damn near indestructible. So I just don't see Jesus Burgess being, again, very much of a threat. He actually, if anything, he just got a weakness. He gained a little bit more strength, but now he can't swim. Where if before, where none of the Titanic captains, none of the crew that had devil fruits could swim, if they capsized or got into the water, Burgess is strong enough and probably a very fast swimmer with all his muscles and stuff, super strong. He could probably have saved everybody, but now nobody can. So he just made the whole crew weaker by taking a devil fruit, and this devil fruit was not worth it. So let me know in the comments if you don't agree with me. Overall, the Blackbeard Pirates are looking pretty tough. They're very dangerous. We got two super large, colossal threats with Juan Wolf and Pizarro. We have two stealthy fighters, maybe three if you count Katarina Devon. You have Van Auger and Shiryu, invisibility, teleportation, sniping. That's very dangerous. And then we have some extremely dangerous powerhouses like Blackbeard himself and Burgess and Vasco Shot. But we have a huge wild card too in Lafitte. Don't know what Lafitte is all about. I feel like they're purposefully keeping him mysterious because he's probably got something huge to reveal about the world. And I can't wait to see it. But right now, in a fight against the Strawhats, I mean, I'm biased because I love the Strawhats, but nobody's beating Luffy right now. Like, Luffy's just too OP. I don't see Blackbeard like edging Luffy out with his ridiculous powers, especially now that Luffy can hit you without actually touching you anymore, and everything that actually hits him he can turn into an attack against you right back. I bet you Luffy would just grab some of the darkness and ball it up and throw it back at, you know, Blackbeard or some shit. He would, like, you know, just turn the earthquakes and just make everything like a bouncy house, and it would just be like jello. You know, like, there'd be so many ways that Luffy could just mess with Blackbeard's powers and just make him obsolete that I can't give it to the Blackbeard crew at this moment. Zoro easily knocks out Shiryu. I'm sorry. His invisibility does not stop Zoro when he opens his eye. Y'all see, it's gonna happen. Sanji is probably the most indestructible person in the entire lore right now, with his new, you know, scientific upgrade that's been revealed. And then we have other fantastic people on the crew. I mean, you know, you got Brook, who can manipulate people's souls, which probably wouldn't come up at all. We got Nami, who's now been empowered with Zeus, who can just lightning and do all her craziness with all of the crew, just wipe them out. She could probably make it easier for Shiryu to be seen by everybody else, because the raindrops will kind of bounce off of him. We have Usopp, which, I mean, he's been letting us down lately, but he's about to come up whenever they get to Elbaf, and he has his whole journey. We know he's about to get a huge come up after he gets to Elbaf, for sure. So I'm sure he's going to be in a much more favorable position. But at this moment, he'd probably be one of the ones that goes down in the fight. Him, maybe Nami too. Chopper, probably. I don't see Chopper being that helpful in the fight. Robin, I could definitely see being a huge threat to the Blackbeard Pirates with her new demonic form, plus using armament hockey and her little hands all over the place. Plus, she never does this, but she could just sprout fists in people's throat and just choke them out like that. But who am I, you know? I'm not gonna give her any ideas, but that would be pretty brutal. Just imagine, she just goes, you know, Diaz Fleurs, and then everybody's just like, because there's big fists in their necks. But I digress. I don't think that the Blackbeard Pirates are up to the task. Luffy, ultimately, at the end of the day, is the big difference. Like, once he takes down Blackbeard, he can easily take down the rest by himself. And the Straw Hats got his back. So, easy victory for the Straw Hats today. Let me know if you think I'm crazy in the comments below. Like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And I'll see you next week. Peace.